Welcome to another weekly edition of our StaySmart newsletter and podcast, brought to you by Viciniti Corporate Housing, where we try to keep you updated on what we see happening in corporate housing, relocation, business travel, hospitality, anything that we think might be relevant to you and to your company. I'm coming to you from a hot Phoenix, Arizona today. I'm here this week for the Arizona Relocation Alliance's annual conference, and it is very hot here. I'm looking forward to some fall weather, so hopefully some of the conferences coming up will be a little cooler than Phoenix, Arizona. So we have some good articles this week. The first one is from Yahoo Business, and it talks about the possible labor disputes or strikes that we might see in the airline industry. I think this is relevant because as we see a lot of labor disputes right now, whether it's the auto workers or the screenwriters, there's possible labor disputes, or is current labor disputes with a possible strike in the airline industry. So we see United Airlines, American Airlines, Alaskan Airlines, flight attendants and pilots, and the Southwest pilots looking to possibly strike later this year. So if you're going to be traveling over the holiday season, this is something that you need to keep an eye on, because even if just one of these companies' employees strike, it'll have a major impact on the travel industry, and we'll see significant travel delays trickle down throughout the travel industry if we see one of these companies' employees strike. So keep an eye out on that. Another article that's kind of relevant to this is the government shutdown, the U.S. government shutdown, or possibility of that. It's end of September as I'm recording this right now, so maybe there'll be a compromise over this weekend, but if not, this article is relevant because Worldwide ERC put this article out about how it could impact the relocation industry, a possible short or long-term government shutdown. And a lot of it has to do with kind of delays that we would probably see, whether it's from visa, immigration, passports, whatever processing that the government's currently doing for you, those are probably going to be delayed. And even E-Verify would possibly be down during this time. So what's your solution for that if E-Verify is down? So something to look at. And then also government-related relocations would probably be delayed or even paused. So that's something to watch. And also not included in this article, but TSA employees are required to go in during a government shutdown. So your screening agents, they would be required to go in. But what we've seen in the past is a higher rate of kind of no-shows from TSA employees if they're not getting paid. So again, we'd probably see delays at airports if there is a short or long-term government shutdown. And the next article we have is about a high-speed rail line opening from Orlando to Miami. So this company's been operating from West Palm Beach to Miami for a couple years now, but they've expanded to Orlando to Miami. You can take this trip in 3 to 3.5 hours. It goes up to 125 miles an hour, so relevant to a high-speed train line. This is interesting, I think, because while we see a lot of options like this in Europe and the Asia Pacific, we don't really see anything like this in the US right now, other than the Amtrak line right now that goes from Boston to DC. There's not a lot of high-speed rail lines. And when we see a push for sustainability in the travel industry, this is definitely a more sustainable option than traveling on an airplane. So I think it'll be interesting to see if there's going to be other train lines operating. This company is working on a line from Southern California to Las Vegas, looking to open that in 2027, but I'll be interested to see if any other companies try to operate in the US in the coming years. And then finally, we have an article in the Mobility magazine from Worldwide ERC about the global corporate housing shortage. And this article quotes several people from the CHPA board, and it talks about what kind of caused this, really stemming from the 2008 financial crisis and not a lot of units being built. We've talked about this on previous episodes, both multifamily and single family being a shortage of units. This article talks about between 5.5 million and 6.8 million short of the needed units in the US. So it's an interesting article. They talk about some possible solutions being co-living or micro units, but really, as it talks about in this article, I think a lot of it comes down to developing those partnerships and those relationships. Because I do think kind of in the short term that we're going to continue to see some shortage in the apartment industry. I think in 2024 we'll see a lot more inventory come online, so hopefully that trickles into the corporate housing industry in the coming years. So So that's the articles that we have this week. But if you would like to learn more about Viciniti Corporate Housing, how we can help you as a housing provider, or anything that we might be able to help you in the housing relocation industry, we'd love to be a resource for you. Please reach out to me. The email address is below, or you can reach out to me in the contact section below. If you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and add those. If you haven't subscribed yet to our newsletter or our podcast, go ahead and do that. That's what I see transitioning this week. Take care, everyone.